show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. It is time for Trend Watch on this dial, and of course, Oluwayemi Adelakun and Oluwakwa Edowu. They're both back here in the studio with me this morning.
Yes, so good to be back here today.
Nice to have you all back.
And of course, now let's switch over to Trend Watch, right? And the issue of discourse is corpses of the two Nigerians fighting for Russia recovered in Ukraine as more Africans deployed in suicide units. But just a brief insight is that the intelligence report further revealed that the Nigerians died during a combat operation in late November 2025 after being deployed to the battlefield shortly after signing contract with Russian forces. And the bodies of two Nigerian nationals who traveled to fight for Russia in the ongoing war against Ukraine have been recovered in the battlefield. But anyway, that's more like the issue. But much more important is that there was a particular investigative angle that was taken by a guy called Larry Mado of CNN. And you know, he did not just stop by speaking to the families of those people. He went to places where he gathered major and basic information. And you could see information. And you could see that his premise was that many African nations are being, maybe manipulated. I mean, some of their members are being manipulated or being told a lie to join the combat forces of the Russian forces, to say, yes, there's this, there's that, we have opportunities for you. If you get there, this will be the case. But unfortunately, when they got there, they were put at the front line, at the battle line, where it is very hot.
Untrained.
Very untrained. And I mean, I think it took, maybe, according to him, maybe a month or so to train them, which is not enough. It's not satisfactory for an armed person to go to, especially in front of war. A war that is not playing, nobody's joking there. It's real. If you get a bullet, you die. If you get hit, you die. But the conversation has been in the African quarters that some persons, even while listening to this, are saying, how can I get in? Something they want to join the Russian forces.
You see, it's quite unfortunate that Nigeria and other African countries have become more or less like the dump site for some countries, and we have suddenly become the country that exports military personnel, untrained military personnel to Russia, for example. But I wouldn't blame Russia as a country, because at this time they need as many numbers as they can get. But I would blame the Nigerian government that has failed to place a restriction and a regulatory control on how things are being done in this country. You will be shocked that it is some of these travel agencies that are recruiting for the Russian government, and they are taking them to Russia. They are trained maybe 3 weeks, at most 4 weeks, and then they are put at the front line. Russian citizens are at the back, and Nigerians and other African countries, citizens of other African countries, are being placed at the forefront. What are they looking for? That is the premise of what this conversation is about. They think when they get there and the war is over, they get to stay in Europe and enjoy
citizenship.
I mean, have you thought about you losing your life before the war is over? I mean, this is not ending anytime soon. Even the US and the UK that have been mediating all of this, they have suddenly gone silent on what is going on between Ukraine and the US. We consider
and Russia.
And Russia, rather. In the first place, when it all happened, you see everyone commenting. Even China was commenting, "Oh, this has to stop." When was the last time any one of them said anything about what is going on? And the war is active between Russia and Ukraine. And what do they do? They get Nigerians, Ghanaians, they get Somalis who think that their lives are not valuable enough for them to stay in their own country, to come and fight for another country, and then on the promise of you get also amount of money, and when the war is over, you get to stay in Europe, and then you start a family. And it's so sad that after the investigative journalism was conducted on one of these victims, we got to discover that he had families in Nigeria. He had members, he had 3 children and a wife that are doing fine in Nigeria, and he left to fight for Russia in the hope that he wants to make their lives better and then come back to pick them later. This is just a wake-up call to everyone who still has that mindset. Look, Europe is not bed of roses. You don't go there and pluck money on the tree. I mean, it's not like Apple. You go there, you work, And aside from working, yes, it is still it's still fine when you are going there to work as an industrious human being. You know that if you work, you will hit. But then going to the forefront, you no military background whatsoever, you don't know how to handle weapons, you have no tactical awareness or tactical training about how to handle weapons.
Even the language.
The language, you don't understand. And someone takes you from your country, a fellow Nigerian, a fellow Ghanaian, a fellow Somali, convinced you to come and fight for Russia, and the next thing you did was to pack your bags. I don't think you know what you are doing. No matter how desperate you want to be, it is not that bad in African countries for you to go and lay your lives. You can't even do that for Nigeria. And that you have done for Russia. I mean, that is totally unacceptable. Whoever still has that kind of mindset should be checked.
Right. It's really sad that this happened, and sincere condolences to the families. And then, it speaks to the weaponized poverty in this country, not just Nigeria, African countries, because it has gotten to that point whereby people will do anything for money. They don't care whether they can die at the end of the day, but they'll do anything to cater for their family and the pressure. But it's really sad. And then he mentioned that even some persons, after what happened, they are still willing to go there. So it brings back memories of what happened, what we read, what happened back then. When World War I was fought, the First World War, the Second World War was fought. Africans were also recruited to go and fight the wars, and many Africans died. They died. Taking it back even to the slave trade period, many able-bodied men were also transported. Are we going to learn at all? But then, it's a lot to handle, because some persons are looking for how to better their lives, and then they are willing to take these opportunities to go. And then I also read that even the families were not informed officially by the Russian authorities. Instead, news of their death were reported, through a secret WhatsApp group by African mercenaries. Imagine when you get to hear about what happened to your children through that route, and not from the authorities, because it's really sad. I don't know how we can manage all of this now, but then I just want to say sincere condolences to the families, and then we'll look for ways to actually put a stop to all of this.
Okay, let's take one or two comments, and shortly we'll call it a wrap on this show this morning. All right, there's a comment here that says Nigeria can take risks. I mean, that's actually what we've been saying. Yeah. Nigerians really know how to take risks. And the hope says, may God rest their souls in search of the golden peace, but found death shall not be our portion in Jesus. I mean, you can pray all you do, but the fact is you still have to take the right steps. Prayers don't help you when you take the wrong steps. All right, it is a convenient point to leave the show this morning. So thank you for joining us all through the week. Do well to join us again next week, same time, same station, from Monday all through to Friday, when we have Daybreak Live Extra right here on Dominion Television. Of course, they are still going to be the same host. When you see something, say something. And when you pray, take the right steps too. Samson Balogun is my name. See us next week. Bye for now.
All right, my name is Olayemi Adelakun. Before I go, please double-check opportunities before you take them. Bye for now.
Well, I would say, why not love Nigeria with all your heart and in words and both deeds? Why not just do what is right by the country? Even if the country is not doing well, let's be the ones to build the walls of the country, Nigeria. My name is Anulo Akwedo. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye for now.